None of the small talk, none of the nonsense. Hi, I'm Matt George. That's Kayla Anderson. Kyle Ledbetter on the other side of the glass, pressing buttons, the producer extraordinaire. I am, as of this moment, out on Darren Peterson. I'm out. I want nothing to do with it. Not in Sacramento. It has nothing to do with his talent. He's an obviously extremely talented player. He was fantastic to start last night's game versus Oklahoma State. He was awesome. 23 points, 57% from the field, 60% from three-point range, a block, a steal. He came out on fire before the first media timeout. He had like 16 points. He was unbelievable. But he played a total of 18 minutes because early in the second half, he hit a three, turned to coach. I'm done. I'm cramping, quote-unquote cramping. His night was over. I don't want anything to do with this if I'm the Sacramento Kings, period. Anything. Because we know the Kings' reputation. We know the situation the Sacramento Kings are in. We don't know if Doug Christie's going to be their head coach or not going forward, but I have a pretty good understanding or pretty good belief that he will be. Like, there is so much about Sacramento's situation that says, why wouldn't Darren Peterson do the exact same thing here of, all right, I played well in the first half, but we're a 25-win team. I'm shutting it down for the second half. I don't care. Like, no thanks.
Yeah.
No thanks.
I don't want to be sampling that. There's just some things at Costco I don't want to sample. I walk right past. This has been the sample for me. The past 2-3 months of the college basketball season have been my sample of Darren Peterson. And while it might look really good on the court for a half or for a period of time, the fact that he doesn't finish games or he just period doesn't play in big games in the biggest moments is a incredibly big, now not just red flag, it's like the red alert button, right? Where something goes off and you know you need to get out of that area ASAP. I've heard some people talk about it after last night's game. Kendrick Perkins was talking about it this morning. Stephen A. Smith was talking about it this morning. Welcome to the club, boys, because I have brought up some points about Darren Peterson for about a month now. And my problem I have with this young man is not what he does on the court when he's out there. He's phenomenal. There's no denying he is the best talent right now, pure talent. But I question his love for the actual game of basketball, period. If you are not wanting to play in the biggest games, you're not wanting to finish games, you're going out with, maybe some of them have been legit injuries, but I don't know at this point what it is. I have a problem with you then coming to a place that needs to get it right and needs a culture-building player. And when you just don't feel like playing in an 80-something game season because you don't feel like playing, like, that ain't going to cut it, bro. I can't deal with a player like that I don't fully think. And again, he might prove me completely wrong. But right now, I think I'm okay to say I don't fully know if he embraces and loves and has a pure passion for the game.
I agree with what you said. Where I differentiate is it's not to me how much he loves the game, because that was the question of Anthony Edwards when Ant came into the league. And to me, Ant's circumstance coming into the league and Peterson's circumstance are completely different. Ant was a goofball. Ant was a guy that it didn't look like he took everything serious because he knows he's so good. And this is just Ant's personality, right? And there's a famous story where Ant did a pre-draft workout for the Golden State Warriors. Steve Kerr told him, like, I would not draft you. I don't, like, you need to work harder. And that kind of woke Ant up. And now he's one of the best players in the NBA. And I know people are going to use that in an argument against what we're saying about Darren Peterson. Go, Matt, once he gets into the NBA, he's going to look at what Ant Edwards did. To me, it's completely separate, because I'm not questioning how much Darren Peterson loves the game of basketball necessarily. I'm questioning how much Darren Peterson loves himself over everything else.
Well, I think it's a little of both.
Yeah, no, you're right. But for me, I'm thinking from a Kings standpoint. I'm thinking Darren Peterson coming in here knowing, just like every player, AJ Debansa, Cam Boozer, whoever it is that the Kings draft this year knows they're coming in and this is going to be their team.
Yeah.
And I don't want somebody who's going to come in and know this is their team, know they have a key to the city, know that they cannot do anything wrong, and immediately abuse that power in the sense of, well, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. Nobody's going to get rid of me because I'm the star. I'm just going to...
But he's bigger than basketball. He thinks he's bigger than the game.
Well, he thinks...
Because if you're coming into a season and you're getting paid big bucks to play college ball, I don't give a damn. I don't feel sorry for you.
No.
You are playing basketball for my freaking team,
Yep.
and you're going to help the other people while they're playing college basketball.
Yeah.
And you are already putting out there what your work habits are.
Mm-hmm.
And as someone who works their butt off to get to where they are, and I know there's millions of people out there that feel the same way, that to me is something I look at, and I don't think that is a good example of then what he's going to bring here.
Yeah, at the very least, he's saying he's bigger than college basketball. He's bigger than Kansas.
And that's not a good look.
No, he's bigger than his teammates. He's bigger than this entire process. I am destined to be not just an NBA player. I am destined to be a star, and I'm going to behave like it at a very, very early age. And you can have all the talent in the world, but what professional athletes will tell you is you have to have the work ethic in order to get you not just to the NBA, but to keep you in the NBA. And that's what was Steve Kerr's whole point to Ant. It's like you have to have the work ethic to, if you want to, you got here, congratulations, and you're getting that top pick paycheck. Good for you. But if you want to actually win a ring, you want to actually be talked about amongst the best in the game, you have to work at it. And to Ant's credit, he's never lost the personality. He's never lost the trash talk, and the pure talent has always been on display for Ant. But he's put his head down and he's worked.
And I love that. And you can change. I'm not saying you can't.
Sure.
But this, you guys, this is a really bad pattern.
And again, I'm not writing Darren Peterson off as an NBA prospect.
Right.
I'm saying I don't want him in Sacramento because every bit of the instability of this organization and the reputation of this organization to anybody outside the city and even to many inside this city is, this is a dumpster fire. Why would you want to come here? And I have no idea if Darren Peterson would want to come to Sacramento or not. But why? All I can go off of when I don't know a dude personally, I can go off of is a public display of behavior. And the behavior from Darren Peterson is not in the behavior of somebody who's getting in trouble or somebody that's not the behavior we're talking about. We're talking about someone, are they team oriented? Are they focused on doing things the right way? Because Darren Peterson is not, he is spending 1 year at the University of Kansas. It's one of the best basketball college programs in the NCAA. A lot of guys to the pros. Period. He's going to be, if he plays, they're going to be in the NCAA national tournament. They're probably going to make a deep run in the national tournament. That's almost guaranteed the second you walk on campus because it's Kansas. He, in theory, in Sacramento, would walk into one of the most dysfunctional franchises in all of professional sports, and he's tasked with the guy to lead them out of it alongside Scott Perry.
And I don't think he's up for that. I really don't. You've not proven to me, young man, yet that you are up for that type of task. Are you up for going out and playing basketball every night? Yeah, maybe, but you haven't even really proven that either because you can't stay healthy for an entire game because your legs are cramping up. So there's not only that factor, there's the having the franchise on your shoulder factor, which I don't think he's mature enough to handle yet. And then there's the factor of just altogether, I don't think Sacramento is maybe the right place to draft him for what they need out of that kind of player.
He needs to go to a place, in my opinion, that has like the Miami Heat are not going to have a high draft pick, but they have the Heat culture, and he needs to go to a place where the culture is already established and it's fit in or get out. And in Sacramento, there is no such culture there. Now they're trying to build one, but Darren Peterson comes into Sacramento. He is the culture.
Yeah.
He's the dude.
He's the dude, man.
And AJ Debansa, whoever comes to Sacramento is coming knowing that they are the guy. And I want the guy who I know is going to put his head down and be in it for the long haul. I want the guy who's going to be in there willing to do the dirty work, shoulder to shoulder with Neek Clifford and Max and Dylan and Keegan and DeAndre and whoever's here for the long haul who's going to be in the trenches with him. I don't know what his teammates at Kansas think of him. I have no clue.
I'd love to talk to him.
I'm sure he has friends in or on that organization, on that team who understand who he is and what he's doing. Sure. But at the same time, as a competitor, if my teammate has the green light, just give Darren the basketball in the first half and let him do whatever he wants. Oh, he's now out. Okay, we got to win the game now because he's done his job or he's done enough. Like, as a teammate, that would frustrate the hell out of me at the college level. So what is that gonna be at the professional level?
What happens, Matt, next year when this team is not gonna be good again? Let's just admit it. They're not going to be good again.
They're going to be bad.
He's going to go through a slump that they're going through right now with how many? 13, are we at 13? 14 losses?
14 straight.
Yeah, we're at 14
Tonight would be 15.
Losses.
Franchise record.
I don't know. Like, to me, it seems like from his history, this would be a great time to say, oh, this is not feeling well. This is the problem with a guy like him is it's not, you're finishing, like, you have to play this season. You have to grow this season. Like, you're not going to go get surgery or something. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, I feel like excuses would come into play in a difficult season for him, especially if it's his rookie year. And, like, they don't have time for that.
Yes. If we're playing devil's advocate, the argument for this is, well, he's doing this to make sure he gets to the NBA, he gets to the pinnacle of professional basketball as healthy as possible and as ready to go as possible and keeps his stock as high as possible. That's the devil's advocate argument in favor for why he's doing this. And to some extent, Kayla, I understand that argument.
We can't ignore it.
Right. But again, now I take that a step further because when you go into the NBA, you've made it to the pinnacle of basketball. Guess what? You're playing 3 times the amount of games in a season that you played in college. And I'm not saying you as in Darren Peterson. I'm saying the college season is a third of the NBA season.
And he hasn't even played a third of
so
that.
If I am, as a person, as a player, I'm already thinking I have to load manage to keep myself in this way just to get to the pinnacle of basketball. Okay, you've made it to the pinnacle of basketball and you're going to the worst franchise in basketball in the Sacramento Kings. And I'm willing to say that. I think the Sacramento Kings, where they're at right now? They are the worst franchise in basketball, top to bottom, and they need to build their way out of it. What about Darren Peterson and how he has carried himself as a basketball player at Kansas, outside of the raw talent, makes you think it's going to be any different here?
This was what set me off last night. So we have not heard head coach Bill Self say much about Darren Peterson in terms of this situation.
Right. He's protected his guy as much as he can.
He's protected him. Last night, I saw something from Bill Self when he was up there and asked about Darren Peterson for the first time that made me go, oh, God, he's kind of in the point now that he's like, I can't just keep, like, not saying anything. And when he said I was really disappointed that he didn't finish the game because I felt like he had a chance to really just have one of his greatest games. Like, that's what made me really be like, yeah, Bill Self is holding back as much as he can because he has to.
Yes.
But he's probably thinking in his mind, this young man he's not preparing himself well.
Well, he's also thinking, I've got the best player in college basketball right now who doesn't give a damn about this team or this program.
Right.
Like, I don't think Darren Peterson, I don't know if Darren Peterson's a good guy or not. I'm sure he is.
I have no idea. Yeah.
I'm sure he's fine. And I'm sure he's got, again, plenty of friends and fans in that program.
Sure.
But Darren Peterson is not about Kansas basketball. No. Darren Peterson is not, and if he played at Kentucky, why would it be any different? If he played at Arizona, why would it be any different? It wouldn't, because Darren Peterson is about Darren Peterson. And I understand, like, you are looking at the number 1 pick, a potential star NBA career, a ton of money that comes with that. And look, at a very small scale, and I know you've experienced this too working in television, covering high school and college sports, not only do you interact with the kids, you interact with the parents and the coaches around them and the people that are trying to hitch their wagon to this talent because they know that talent could have superstar potential and the big bucks that come with it. And now your life is made because their life is made. I am sure Darren Peterson has a ton of people in his personal circle around him that are encouraging him to do this, to take care of himself for their own benefit and for Darren Peterson's own benefit.
You're not wrong on that.
I'm not naive to that situation.
And it's more so than ever now with NIL, by the way.
I'm not naive to that situation at all. I'm talking about from the Sacramento perspective, from the Kings perspective of what Sacramento is looking for and the amount of hard labor that they are going to have to go through over the next couple seasons to right this ship.
Sure.
That guy doesn't want to put in the work for the University of Kansas.
No.
For a team that's potentially a national champion. He doesn't want to put in the work for them. He has to load manage for them. So why the hell game 10 when the Kings are down 15 to the Denver Nuggets after the first half and Darren Peterson has 20 at the break? Why is he not going to sit out the final 24 minutes of that game? Because my leg hurts.
we're going off of the samples that we have, and unfortunately, the samples that we have right now, and again, this is this market talking about it. I don't know what another market is talking about because their situations in their front office and their teams might be different. But in this situation, the talent, although it is undeniable and it is incredibly like fun to watch, and he's talented on all levels, it's not great enough, I feel like, for this organization and Scott Perry to be like, we don't feel like that is going to outweigh overall what we need in a player. And that is why there's other players, I feel right now, while their talent level might not reach Darren Peterson at this moment, overall, they're going to be a way better fit here and a way better guy to build around for what Sacramento needs.
The pillars that Scott Perry
part of it.
Speaks so much about, and I know people are going to roll their eyes at it.
I know.
But the pillars are just as much about off the court as on the court, and who you are in the locker room and who you are as a teammate and as a player and as a human, as much as you are a competitor and a basketball player. Which I bring that up to say, not that like these 6 pillars are the Bible of basketball that everybody has to conform to if they want to be a Sacramento King.
Sure.
Like, that's laughable to even say something like that. But the point is that goes to show you that a general manager is not just looking at their talent. Because again, if this was just a video game and I knew Darren Peterson was this robot that was just going to go out there and put up these stats based off of these ratings and attributes that he has, then great. I didn't have to worry about that side of the game. But we're not talking about Darren Peterson as a basketball player anymore. And the conversation about Darren Peterson hasn't been about him as a basketball player for weeks. And he can't look at anybody else but himself. His camp can't look at anybody else but themselves for why that's a situation. If you're keeping him out in the second half or keeping him out of a game that he's struggling with cramps or whatever the hell, because you don't want him to negatively impact his draft stock if he's not playing well or he's going to cool down or cool off, you are negatively impacting his draft stock more by doing that. Show that he's human. He's going to have bad games. That's fine. Nobody's expecting Darren Peterson to come into the game, come into the league, play 35 minutes a night right away, and average 40 points and shoot 60%. It's not going to happen. We know he's a human being. We want to see what he looks like working through the struggles, working through the frustrations, putting the team on his back when it comes to winning time consistently, not just in the first half.
And that's where, again, I feel like if you're Scott Perry, you clearly have to do all the steps it takes to finding who, you feel like the right guy is going to be. And that's what Scott Perry will do. I'm confident in that. And he's going to sit down with this young man, and he's going to see what he can find out about him and maybe not expose, but bring things in that maybe we have not seen in the public watching Darren Peterson this year. That's part of his job. But right now, from what we've seen, and I'm sure Scott Perry is thinking the same thing, from what he's seen on the outside looking in, it's really hard to just say, hey, man, we're just going to take the talent. There's a lot of risk that comes with it, but, man, he's the most talented guy on the board. Let's freaking lock it in.
Right.
I don't think that is how that's going to go down.
Right there, too, because I've seen, and I think personally it's a lazy argument. Hey, don't overthink it. Matt, don't overthink it. Take the best talent available. What the hell you mean don't overthink it? Scott Perry has to think of every possible scenario here because he has to get this right. This is what changes the franchise. This is what determines whether or not he's going to have a job in a few years, is getting this pick right. Because you don't know if you're ever going to be it. Now, this is the assumption that the Kings have either the number 1 or number 2 overall pick, which I think Darren Peterson is very highly likely to go number 1 overall. But my point is not that Darren Peterson isn't a number 1 overall pick. He shouldn't be the number 1 overall pick for the Kings. I've made it clear who I want. It's AJ Debansa. Because I think AJ Debansa can do the exact same thing that Darren Peterson can do in terms of a just unbelievable scoring talent, who also fits a consistent need for this organization and has a bunch of talent on the defensive end. Let me just throw a question out there. And I know this is going to sound disrespectful to somebody, but let me just throw the question out there. Why would Darren Peterson be any different to the Sacramento Kings than what Zach LaVine is? Why? Zach LaVine is an unbelievably talented scorer who could do whatever he wants offensively. Zach LaVine and Darren Peterson, their games are very similar on the offensive side of the ball. Now, I think Darren has more potential as a young player because we don't know as much to be better than Zach and to be more of a winning player than Zach. So I'm not writing Darren Peterson off. But for the Sacramento Kings, why would Darren Peterson be any different than Zach LaVine?
That's a really interesting thing you bring up. And I'm going to point it more because you pointed it in the fact of their games and how their games are similar.
Very similar.
I'm also going to point it in the fact of, look, Peterson, when he's on the court, like, he's a competitor. You can see that. But overall, I look at Peterson as kind of laissez-faire. Like, kind of like, just cool with kind of, doing my thing.
Nonchalant.
Nonchalant in a way. Like, and in a way, I also look at LaVine as being kind of like that type of personality where you can turn it on in moments.
Sure.
But overall, I don't look at you right now as God dang, I'm going to play for that guy.
Yep.
Man, he gets this team. Like, even with Darren, he's supposed to be that guy for Kansas.
Yeah.
At times he is, but then at times he wants to take some time off and shy away from that. And I don't, in the most competitive games this year, let me remind you, in the most competitive games this year, he has taken time off. Mm-hmm. That's embarrassing.
And if it suddenly changes in the tournament, if they
it
go to the tournament and he starts playing 35 minutes consistently every single game, on one hand it's like, okay, there it is, and now we can start judging it based off of that. But on the other hand, again, from a Sacramento Kings standpoint, is okay, so you're going to turn it on once you get to massive games in the playoffs. Hey, the Kings ain't going to be there anytime soon, Darren. You're going to be the one that has to get them there by playing 100% before you can flip the switch and play to 110. Like, you got to play that well just to get them there.
It's going to be a minute.
It's going to be a minute. It's going to be a minute. And here's the thing about Darren Peterson, too. I'm pretty confident he's not a playmaker. I think he's an unbelievable scorer. I think he can shoot and score from anywhere on the floor. But Darren Peterson averages less than 2 assists a game. Darren Peterson has 2 total assists in the last 5 games. The last 2 games, 0 assists. Maybe his job in Kansas is don't pass the ball. We give it to you. You score, pal, because that's what you do.
Don't pass and don't play in the second half.
And if that's what he showcases, great. Do I think Darren Peterson would average more than 2 assists a game at the NBA level? I would certainly hope so. And I believe that number will be better. But, like, the question is Darren Peterson a 2? Is he a 1? Primary ball handler, secondary ball handler? Regardless, he can handle the ball for himself. I don't know if he's passing.
What you just said, and I'm excited because I want to talk about this in our next segment because we're going to talk about Debansa. You said something about being able to develop things, or maybe you could do more of it. This is a big part of why I'm also in on AJ. And I'll explain that. And while I question even Darren, like, does Darren feel like he's just like, does he want to grow? Like, what's the attitude there? Because right now, you ain't trying to grow at Kansas. You're not trying to become a better player because you're not playing. You're not letting the growth process happen.
Well, how can he grow in his mind when he's already better than Kansas?
That's my problem. You can
his thing.
always be better, bro.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just not. I am, as of now, again, things can change. There's plenty of time.
I get so heated on this topic.
The talent is undeniable. Like, I watch him, and I watched him in the first half of versus Oklahoma State. I'm like, oh my God, he can do whatever he wants.
He's great to watch. Like, I get all that.
And then it was captured on video when he shoots that 3 and he turns and looks to coach and does a little hand motion, and coach immediately subs him out, and that was it. Like, we know. But of course, no surprise, I am fully on board when it comes to AJ Debansa. I've been on board, and I continue to be on board. I do have some criticisms of how he played a little bit last night versus Arizona, but some great stuff as well. I want to see AJ Debansa in a Kings uniform. I don't care if he wants to go to Utah. I hope he comes to Sacramento. We'll talk about AJ Debansa and more coming up next. It's Matt and Kayla on Sactown Sports.